The Bank of Israel says it expects the nation's economy to slow amid the ongoing war with Hamas. Israel is seeing an increase in defense spending, as well as increases in support for local businesses and its citizens. Joining us now is Liz Alderman. She is the chief European business correspondent for the New York Times. Thank you for joining us. What sectors of Israel's economy are expected to be impacted the most by what's happening?
Well, thanks very much for having me. First of all, we definitely need to say that a widening war here could pile economic havoc on top of an already devastating humanitarian toll. The central bank came out this week and talked about how the war has already greatly hit Israel's economy, slowing growth in its major sectors. That includes the tech sector, which is actually sort of the driving force of Israel's economy. Construction, agriculture, tourism, all of that has slowed down, not least because also we have 360,000 Israeli reservists who've been called to the front lines to fight this war. Many of those people have come from businesses like the tech industry, everybody from executives to workers. So in addition to having to deal with the trauma of the invasion, of the death of loved ones, giving support, to their people, the business community in general is sort of struggling to go forward now with many of its workers on the front lines.
Yeah, one of our correspondents said, at this point, all of Israel is on a war footing. And its currency has also taken a nosedive in the middle of all of this. How was Israel's economy performing even before the war? Because, as we were watching from here, we saw a lot of political upheaval, a lot of, people were taking to the streets. And I wonder, how healthy was the economy before?
The Israeli economy actually had been kind of riding high until recently. It had become really a sort of a technology powerhouse after, more than a decade in which the government worked to develop that. It even had, became nicknamed Silicon Wadi, with like half of Israel's exports were basically from the tech industry. So that was very strong. And then it also has other industries, including natural gas, chemicals, pharmaceuticals. But you're right in the sense that, things actually started to get a little bit wobbly earlier this year when Prime Minister Netanyahu pushed forward a very contentious measure to overhaul the Israeli judiciary. That raised a lot of questions about the stability of the rule of law. And so investment had actually started to fall off significantly. And the Israeli currency as well started to get attacked. It started to wobble greatly along with the stock market. All of that was happening. And then Hamas invaded Israel in the bloody and traumatic situation that we've seen.
Sure. Is there any indication the Bank of Israel will take any steps to try to avoid an economic slowdown?
So actually, the Bank of Israel has a huge amount of reserves. They have about $200 billion in foreign exchange reserves, which is equal to about 40% of the country's GDP. So the governor of the central bank has basically said that they have a pretty good economic cushion. The bank is also setting aside something like $30 billion in currency reserves to try and support the currency, the shekel, from plunging further. But beyond that, the government is also taking major steps. It's already indicated that it's going to ramp up spending significantly, obviously on defense and military. It's also going to be spending pretty lavishly to try and support economic actors, businesses with things like sort of, state-backed loans, to support households, also with things like, easy repayment schemes, and in general, just to try and support an economy that looks like it's probably going to take a pretty big hit going forward. Of course, this depends on just how long and wide this conflict gets, because obviously if it gets bigger and expands to include Hezbollah, that's going to be a whole different ballgame.
All right. Liz Alderman, thank you so much.